Hi students, I am Praveen Sebastian Paul. In this lecture, we are discussing one of the most common disasters that occur continuously throughout the globe in the most modern world too, that is earthquake and its natural causes. Earthquake is any sudden shaking of the ground caused by the passage of seismic wave through Earth's rock. Seismic waves are produced when some form of energy stored in the earth crust is suddenly released, usually when masses of rock straining against one another suddenly fracture and slips. Earthquakes occur most often along geological fault, narrow zones where earth masses move in relate to one another. The major fault lines of the world are located at the fringes of the huge tectonic plates that make up Earth's crust. About 50,000 earthquakes large enough to be noticed without the aid of instruments occur annually over the entire Earth. Of these, approximately 100 are sufficient size to produce substantial damage if their centers are near areas of habitation. Very great earthquakes occur on average about once per year. Over the centuries, they have been responsible for millions of deaths and an incalculable amount of damage to the property. So the different natural causes of earthquakes are the natural forces, tectonics, as well as the volcanism. Earth's major earthquakes occur mainly in the belt coinciding with the margins of tectonic plates. This has long been apparent from early catalogues of felt earthquake and is even more readily discernible in modern seismicity graphs, which shows instrumentally determined epicenters. The most important earthquake belt is the Circum-Pacific Belt, which affects many populated coastal regions around the Pacific Oceans like New Zealand, New Guinea, Japan, the Aleutian Islands, Alaska, and the western coast of the North and South America. It is estimated that 80% of the energy presently released in earthquakes come from those whose epicenters are in this belt, that is the Circum-Pacific Belt. The seismic activity is by no means uniform throughout the belt, and there are number of branches at various points. Because at many places the Circum-Pacific Belt is associated with volcanic activity, it has been popularly dubbed as Pacific Ring of Fire. The second belt is the Alpide Belt, passes through the Mediterranean region eastwards through Asia and joins the Circum-Pacific Belt in the East Indies. The energy released in the earthquake from this belt is about 15% of world's total. There also are striking connected belt of seismic activities mainly along oceanic ridges, include those in the Arctic Ocean, Antarctic Ocean and the Western Indian Ocean, and along the rift valleys of East Africa. This global seismicity distribution is best understood in terms of its plate tectonic settings. When we come to the natural forces, the earthquakes are caused by the sudden release of energy within some limited region of the rocks of the earth. The energy can be released by the elastic strain, gravity, chemical reaction, or even the motion of massive bodies. Of all these, the release of elastic strain is the most important cause because this form of energy is the only kind that can be stored in sufficient quantity in Earth to produce major disturbances. Earthquakes associated with this type of energy release are called tectonic earthquakes. The second one is tectonic movements. The tectonic earthquakes are explained by the so-called elastic rebound theory formulated by the American geologist Harry Field Reid after the San Andreas Fault ruptured in 1906, generating the Great San Francisco Earthquake. According to the theory, a tectonic earthquake occurs when strains in rock masses have accumulated to a point where the resulting stress exceeds the strength of rock and sudden fracturing results. As a fault rupture progresses along or up the fault, rock masses are flung in opposite directions and thus spring back to a position where there is less strain. At any one point, this movement may take place not at once but rather in irregular steps. These sudden slowings and restarting give rise to vibrations that propagate as seismic waves. Such irregular properties or fault ruptures are now included in the modeling of earthquake sources, both physically and mathematically. Earthquakes have different properties depending upon the type of fault slip that causes them, the various tectonic movements. The usual fault models has a strike and a dip, and the third major natural cause is a volcanism. A separate type of earthquake is associated with volcanic activities and it is called as volcanic earthquakes. Yet it is likely that even in such cases the disturbances is the result of a sudden slip of the rock masses adjacent to the volcano and the consequent release of elastic strain energy. The stored energy, however, may in part be of hydrodynamic origin due to the heat provided by magma moving in the reservoir beneath the volcano or to the release of gas under pressure. There is clear correspondence between the geographic distribution of volcano and major earthquakes, particularly in the circum-Pacific belt and along the oceanic ridges. Volcanic vent, however, are generally several hundred kilometers from the epicenters of most major shallow earthquakes, and many earthquake sources occur nowhere near active volcanoes. Even in the cases where an earthquake's focus occurs directly below the structure marked by volcanic vent, there is probably no immediate causal connection between the two activities. Most likely, both are the result of the same tectonic processes. So these are the three different major natural causes of earthquakes. So dear students, kindly go through this assignment question. The questions are: first one, define earthquake, and second one, explain the various natural causes of earthquakes. So dear students, in the upcoming lecture, we will discuss the man-made or artificial induction of earthquakes. See you soon. Until then, goodbye. Thank you and all the best.